All right. Looks like we are live. Let me get the collab recording
I
started as
believe I
well.
started the AI. Just check me and make sure
Let's take a look.
to see the thing blink out. Yes.
Yeah, then we're all set there. Amazing, amazing. Welcome everybody officially to the BeatCancer.Org Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach weekly call. As we are in these opening minutes, I imagine we'll have some more friends file in and join us. But in the meantime, here we are, and we will get started. Thank you for joining us on this community call. We see a lot of return friends here. We have a few holistic cancer coaches on with us tonight, and we will be fielding questions from the people on the Zoom. We'll be fielding questions from social media. We are live streaming on Facebook, X.com, YouTube, Rumble, and probably some more places. I don't know. But quick disclaimers, nothing that we say here is intended to be taken as medical advice. Always consult with the appropriate medical practitioner, whatever that means to you, in all things. We are here not to give specific directions, nor diagnosis, nor prescriptions. We're here to just talk about matters of holistic health and wellness at large, be they related to cancer or otherwise, because ultimately there really is no getting away from matters of health being related to cancer. With that said, I'm going to toss it over to our wonderful CEO, Carl, to do some housekeeping here at the beginning here while I tend to the health of the live stream.
Yes. One thing to add is if there's any noise in the background and your microphone is on, I will mute you. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means that noisy and distracting. And I'm letting people in. We got some wonderful hosts and wonderful guests on. And of course, we should acknowledge Zach, our host for the evening. He is the COO of Beat Cancer, and he is the man behind all the magic that happens online. With this call, you will be fielding questions on multiple screens. He has multiple screens in his computer setup so he can watch all the feeds that are happening live on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Twitter. Am I missing something? Facebook, of course, Facebook. And he's a man of many talents and the heart of a lion. He will protect our coaches at all cost and our mission.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So with that, we have more coaches filing in, more people filing in, and we did have a question come in from the chat already. So Carl, you want to get off to the question that we've got from the chat?
It said, are mushrooms important? Well, that's a pretty vague question, but I just said yes. And well, it's a vague question, so I gave a vague answer. But when it comes to cancer, there is definitely a few mushrooms that I know of that are good to have when you're fighting cancer, but we can't be specific about anybody's particular cancer diagnosis, but we can talk about mushrooms in general. So let's start off the chat with mushrooms.
All right. We're going over to our coaches with that. What are some of your scoops on mushrooms? What are your favorites? What are your go-tos? What are your ones to avoid, if any? Um, open mic for the coaches.
The magical mushrooms, we'll avoid those for tonight.
So we're just talking about every other mushroom besides the mushrooms, right?
Yes, yes. Not that
Yeah.
we'll avoid the psilocybin mushrooms for tonight.
Got it, got it. Well, mushrooms are actually super great for you. They can do a lot for the body. They can help support the body quite a bit, especially the immune function. They help with immune modulation. There are actually specific mushrooms that have been found to be beneficial in cancer care and cancer treatment and prevention. They do use it as an adjunct therapy in Japan, and that is what they've been doing for a little while. But there's lots of studies on the medicinal benefits of mushrooms, so you can definitely go look those up. There's lots of books on them too. But just make sure that you are careful if you are going to ever try them. Make sure that you contact and be in touch with your healthcare provider because they can interact with other medications that you're taking and other supplements too. And it's not something that you want to take every day. It's kind of one of those things that you do want to take. You know, you want to incorporate it every now and again in your diet. So probably a couple times a week would be good. There are some supplements out there that have like, I don't know, 20 plus mushrooms in there. You probably don't need all of those. But really just look at your lifestyle, look at your your symptoms and stuff that you're having or what your goals are for your health your health outcomes and see if those are something that you want to incorporate. But you can even cook them. They're great. They're great to incorporate in your meals. They create a little bit of a texture. Some of the mushrooms you wouldn't think are very tasty, and they are. Lion's mane is actually one of them. So yeah, you can just be a little bit experimental with it, but they are definitely something I think that, in my opinion, and from what studies have shown, uh, is they are very beneficial for the human body.
Yeah, I was going to ask two follow-up questions, and Annette, you can address them, or any of the other coaches. But I was wondering about one, supplementation versus fresh. And if you are going to eat them fresh, how do you measure out dosage? If there's any possible way, I know that you can't be specific because dosage would have to do with the individual person and possibly their weight. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And the second question is um, the adaptogenic qualities, adaptogen, so adaptogenic qualities of mushrooms.
All right. So first question, you're gonna have to remind me again. I just kind of
Cooking,
went blank. I already started to think about the other part.
cooking overall versus supplementation, and how do you account for dosage if at all
Oh,
possible?
possible. Okay. So first of all, you do want to make sure that you're getting the fruiting body of the mushroom. That's where most of the benefits are. You have to watch because there are supplementations out there that do just use the mycelium, and that is like the other, like the roots, I guess I kind of think of it that way, of the mushroom. So you definitely want to get the fruiting body if you can. And cooking it, you can make sure you wash it off well and you can put it in your salad. You can cook them up and saute them just slightly with your, whatever else you're making on the side. I like to just eat mine plain, but I'm, I'm a little different. I just think too, I've just adapted this. I think it's just a mindset, a mindset change. Is I want to be able to feed my body whatever is going to be able to give it the most nutrition and fuel. And so if that is going to be able to hold those nutrients more in place to eat it more raw, then that's what I choose to do.
Thank you, thank you. And the
And then
second
as
question
oh,
follow
sorry. Oh yeah,
adaptogenic. Yes.
adaptogenic properties. Oh, and I'll go back to measuring out your dosage. So definitely, again, making sure you could even work with a nutritionist or a dietitian, and they can help get you the specifics on what you need for your dosages. And we have some of our coaches that are also nutrition trained. So you could also reach out to them, but you want to just make sure that you are measuring it out with just a small kitchen weight, and you can get to the grams that you should use. I know for like adaptogenic properties, which is also to help like your mind function better. It just helps things adapt a little bit better in your brain, especially stress and whatnot. But lion's mane is probably one of the best for adaptogenic properties. It helps get that decrease in that inflammation, and then it helps the neuroconnectivity in your brain work a lot better. It's one main one that people use, especially for mood, to help calm you down. So it's very great at help modulating stress and anxiety in your body.
So what does that mean, adaptogen? When they're saying adaptogen, what does that mean? From what I understand, it adapts to what's going on in your body, but maybe you have a better definition.
Well, I think that that's probably the best way to really to define it. And I mean, it helps balance out whatever your body is needing at the moment. Is how I like to think of it.
Pretty amazing.
It helps regulate, I guess, probably.
It's like a miracle thing, like where you know anything with adaptogenic qualities is adapting to what your body
Like,
needs.
yeah, yeah. Our bodies are amazing. They're amazing, and sometimes they just need a little bit more, support from the outside. And that's what, the mushrooms do, is they help support what your body is already trying to do on its own.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a hand up from Amy. You're on mute, Amy, and we can't see you either. Maybe she's not there right now.
It'll be tough.
She does have a tendency to walk away and come back. There she is. Hi, Amy. We can't hear you even though you're not on mute. You may want to hang up and try again.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, we will move on from now.
We'll move on.
If you are able to get your microphone working in the future, please do chime in when the mic is open. You may also, of course, add your comment or question into the chat area of Zoom if you would like to. Awesome. So we're still on the topic of mushrooms. Are there any other coaches that have any thoughts on mushrooms?
I know there's coaches. Don't be shy.
That's all right. If not, we can move on to a different topic.
Well, everybody's favorite topic's up there in the chat.
That's true. So our friend Dave here had a question about sugar, but rather than me, pitching it, why don't we allow Dave himself to ask us what he'd like to know about sugar?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm probably opening up a can of worms here, and then maybe not. I mean, we could probably talk weeks on the subject of sugar, and for you guys, it's probably such an oversimplification that, and I'm supposed to know what I need to know about sugar and cancer. I think I do. But what's interesting is what turned me on this in the first place was my best friend told me that when you just before you get a PET scan, maybe it's a CAT scan. I don't think it has to do with MRIs. I'm not sure, but whatever they give you, he said it was mainly just a sugar solution, and that's what they use to get the cancer to get activated and show up really bright and yellow on their PET scans. And I thought, well, gosh, that all makes sense. It must that would be enough for me. I mean, that would be enough. I wouldn't need anything else. I wouldn't need to read books. I wouldn't need to go to the library. I wouldn't have to go online. That would tell me everything I need to know about cancer and sugar. However, my oncologist, who's an older gentleman, well noted in his field, he's been at it for many years. And he told me the first day I showed up, he said, yeah, don't need any sugar. I said, no sugar at all? He says, yeah. Well, I know enough about sugars to know that means the starches too. So that means I can't eat plants, right? He says, yeah. He says, no sugar at all. So, I don't think I did that right away, but eventually I experimented a little bit, and I experimented with the keto diet, and I experimented with the carnivore diet. One's low carbs, right, and sugar, and one's no sugar. And I don't know. But then, about 2 years later, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about traditional healthcare, and yeah, I know you guys all do too. That's why you're pretty much, naturopaths and et cetera. And I'm really trying to lean in that direction, and I might just stop anything that has to do with traditional cancer care any given day. I actually have done that for about a year. It didn't work out too good. My PSA went up. They would call it skyrocketing, 13.9, and that is pretty high for their typical scale. They want you down to 0.05, 0.06, which they call what do they call it again? Non-detectable. And I'm thinking, how scientific is that? Obviously, if they're getting 0.05, 0.06, even though it's minimal, whatever it is, deciliters per whatever, I don't know, micromillion molecules per whatever, it's low. And practically speaking, they just treat that in the traditional healthcare field as zero. Good enough for me, but I don't know. If I got this right, from what I can tell and from what I'm reading, cancer really does feed off of sugar, but it feeds off of other things too. Obviously, testosterone in men and estrogen in women for breast cancer. But all of a sudden, 2 years later, the guy just drops things on me that he should have told me on day one. All of a sudden, 2 years later, he says, "I don't worry about that." I'm like, what do you mean? Don't worry about it. You told me sugar's bad. Everyone else says it's bad. And all of a sudden, you're telling me don't worry about it. I'm losing more faith in these traditional doctors every day. I've been to several. I got arthritis in my hands, and it took a lot of work to find this out, but only one website said this, and it was the last point. I was ready to give up. And sure enough, point number 8 said people that undergo traditional cancer care have a tendency to get arthritis. And I've never had any problems, and nowhere else in the body, just my hands. So I don't know if it has anything to do with that or not. I can't figure out what causes it. No traditional doctor will ever figure it out, because I know from what I've gone to 3 of them already, different levels, even a rheumatologist, and who was way too quick on wanting to do surgery and cut into my hands. Oh, you ever seen those pictures? Are they gruesome? So, I'm not going to do that, and I'll treat it naturally, and it works. And I'm trying the red light therapy. That's another topic for another day. But I guess I just wanted to get your take in general. Now, I'm not supposed to eat bananas, and I'm not supposed to eat strawberries because they're high sugar content. I eat them every day. And I do eat some starches. I eat oatmeal every day, but not much anymore. Now it's almost all fats and plant proteins and plant fats. And I got a little bit of that cachava. You guys probably heard about that, right? The breakfast you can mix and drink, and it's got everything in there. That's for people on the go. They mix it up, and it's got everything, all the proteins, all the fats, all the vitamins, minerals, and carbs that you need. I don't do that, but I do put a little teaspoon in just to cover my bases. So I don't know. I'm about ready to go back. And that all leads into keto. Oh, Jesus, where do I start? And that leads into keto and the carnivore diet too. So I just wanted to get your guys' general take on that, because you guys are the experts. This is first base material. I know that, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about sugar and starches.
Awesome. There was a whole lot there. Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
You hit at least 3 or 4 topics at least.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of different.
Sure, I know what you're going to say, but surprise me.
A lot of different directions to go down.
You might surprise me.
We'll start off with sugar, because that was the original question.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Over to Jane. I saw a hand up. Oh, you're muted.
Dave, thank you very much for asking, because that is a very, very important topic. First of all, there's a very big difference between simple sugars and complex sugars. So if you have a piece of candy, then that has to be assimilated into the body very quickly and used. And our bodies don't react, are not built to metabolize them that way. However, if you have an apple, that's a complex sugar, just like you talk about fruit. So it's going to break it down in the body slowly. And because it's a fruit, you're going to have to chew it, and it helps with how that gets metabolized too, because the secretions are made so that you can digest it. So it's not the simple sugars are absolutely right to stay away from, not just for cancer, but very often, there are related diseases like diabetes or low blood sugar, which interestingly enough is the same diet. It's the body's inability to handle sugar. It's a weakness of the pancreas. So in someone that has low blood sugar, and that person has a simple sugar, the sugar level will drop. If someone has diabetes and they have simple sugar, the sugar level goes up. For someone with low blood sugar, they need high protein, When someone is crisis with diabetes, they need orange juice quicker. So it's different, but it's still the body's, it's the weakness of the pancreas. Now, with cancer, very often there's more organs than one that have been not working 100% for a long time. So cancer just doesn't happen overnight. So it's important to separate the two. I personally think, you know, complex sugars like fruits, we need some. We need to balance them. I have sweet potatoes cooking in the oven. That's going to be, you know, my snack tonight. But it's going to be assimilated differently in the body. Now, the biggest thing to understand about the simple sugars is that they are addictive. So if I eat sugar and do it every day, now I'm talking about the simple sugars, okay? If I eat a piece of candy here, piece of cake here, piece of ice cream there, right?
Yeah.
My body says, I want that more. And it has a taste for it and craving for it. And that's why it becomes addictive. But if you stop those simple sugars, that taste goes away. And in balancing our diet, we do need some of the complex sugars and starches. So in balance, but always from a natural source, like a fruit, a potato, something like that. So does that answer some of your questions? Does that do you have any questions on that part?
No, that all makes perfect sense. I learned, I didn't know anything about the low blood sugar thing and all of that. That's interesting. I understood the concept and I was afraid to ask the question because I didn't want to bore everybody.
Never
Because you
be
guys are
afraid.
so far beyond all that, but that's very interesting take on it. Does that mean I should quit eating my bananas and my strawberries?
Well, you again, that's something that you have to check with your doctor, and I'll tell you why. In some situations, and that we're told, okay, we have to stay away from high potassium. It might have to do with the kidney situation, you know? So it depends. If you don't have any problems with that, but just check with your doctor if there's some dietary reasons why you can't. I make ice cream from bananas. There's a little gadget, not a gadget, a gadget that you put frozen bananas in it, and it comes out. It's just bananas. It's ice cream. But again, just check with your diet, with your doctor in your full scope of your body. Is there any reason why you can't have the potassium in the bananas? The other thing, I just want to say one more thing, in that there is now a breed of medicine that is different and becoming more and more popular, and it's called integrated medicine. There are MDs that are board certified in integrative medicine, and they have 2 feet in both sides. One, to get to the source of the problem, and they'll be talking to you differently than the regular allopathic doctor because they're not trained in this. And also to give medicine if you need it. And because they're MDs, they're, you know, the rest of the MD world is anxious to work with them. So it's important to open the scope a little bit and to look for and to research, you know, is there an integrative medicine doctor in your area? So he's going to have more knowledge about nutrition and about the sources, and they'll get to the source of what organs are weak. And that may be a help to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jane and Dave. We got a couple of hands up, and we want to make sure that we get to other people. So I think Amy's hand was up first, and Maya, then me.
Okay.
Is my mic working now?
It is working.
Great. Great. I don't know what, something got switched on my computer, but I was there. I did mention something about mushrooms in the comments since I couldn't say anything live. But I wanted to mention that that's great information everybody's been giving. Thank you. On potatoes or sweet potatoes, even you want to make starch resistant if you're going to ingest those. And if you make them a day ahead of time or even several days ahead of time and keep them in the refrigerator, there's something that happens that makes that even healthier. It makes a resistant starch and more good microbes for the stomach. So you might want to add that little extra bonus to the food, and you won't get so much of a glycemic effect on the food as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research on that. And if you have a greener banana, if you're going to eat, now, once again, everyone's unique. And I really cannot emphasize that enough. Getting a glucose monitor and figure out how to use it and how it's spiking your food, whether it's a strawberry or a banana or a potato or whatever, is so important to know how you're reacting to the food and work, like she said, with your naturopath or whoever your professional doctor is, and listen to their wisdom, because they could do certain tests on you that are very crucial. But Mother Nature, she doesn't harm you. You eat real food as clean and organic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the winning. You're adding more good than eating, the standard American diet. So I don't know if that helped you at all, but
I actually think I've read that somewhere. Now you just jogged my memory. You never know if everything's true that you read, but I read somewhere that that does happen.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
point.
Yeah.
Maya.
Oh, it's me?
Yep, you.
Yeah. Hi. Well, sugar is delicious. It makes everything very delicious, right? So, with all due respect to everyone who spoke, I would say, I would be a little negative on the things as someone who has diabetes for 20 years. So I went down the rabbit hole of learning about diabetes and processing sugar and human biology and physiology. So when we speak about complex or simple carbohydrates, they're basically metabolized in our human body the same way as they do, whether it comes from fruits or vegetables or from starches. It doesn't really matter. The human physiology processes them the same way. The end product, whether it's simple or complex carbohydrate, ends up as converting into the glucose in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something, if you don't, instead of like listening to me or other people, the best thing to do is just go and learn yourself the process of metabolite of the glucose and carbohydrates in simple or complex starches. So the sugar from fruits is fructose. Fructose actually has higher cause of glucose spike than regular white sugar. That would shock everyone, but this is what I had learned because of human biochemistry and the physiology. So if you will have, and then everyone is saying, go and consult with your doctor. If your doctor would have known, he would have told you to stay away from sugar if you have cancer. So find a doctor who would tell you to stay away from sugar, but the doctor, not the doctor you're working. I'm just being honest because I know a lot of people are listening to us and we would hate to misguide them. So there's a test that called fructosamine and homoinsulin test that would show you if how your body reacts to fructose that comes from the fruits and vegetables. How much your body releases insulin when it comes to that. Okay. So you have to understand that pathway. which is simple. I mean, it's a very complex pathway. You have to learn about Rendel's cycle, which is a Krebs cycle. It took me 6 months to break it down. But when you understand that anything we put in our body, whether it's, unless the product are fermented, you might downsize the glucose in the fermented products. But if the products are not fermented, anything that comes into your body fresh would spike your blood glucose levels, particularly after eating fruits and vegetables. Because I've been there, I've done it. I have tried so many different things until I eliminated completely all form of carbs to be able to manage and reverse, diabetes. Someone who's been through for 20 years, and I have done my research. So, and our body would make glucose in a ratio what we need, what our brain needs. We cannot survive without glucose. That is 100%. But we don't need carbohydrate to survive without glucose, because our body, our liver makes glucose for our brains and the muscles in the amount our body needs at the moment. Whether we're exercising or walking or sleeping, it doesn't really matter. But the amount our body needs would make that amount of glucose by using fat and by using protein. And that's our innate functioning of our body, which called glucogeogenesis. So liver would make that amount of glucose, whatever we need. Do we need add additional glucose or sugar or carbohydrates? That depends on everyone. Everyone is different. But in what amount? Every additional glucose, every additional carbohydrate you add to your body, it's going to spike your blood sugar levels more than your body needs. But where you're at, you have to do your own test. And you have to talk to a doctor who understand those things and would do a proper test on you.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah, I
that's
was
what
talking
could
about my
say.
oncologist, and he doesn't know anything about anything.
They don't know.
That.
They don't know. I didn't want to, it's just I've been down that rabbit hole a lot as someone who had diabetes. Okay. So we talk about sweet potatoes, keeping them here and there. We talk about bananas. We talk about glucose, fruits, and the fructose in the fruits are way higher than they used to be before. So you have to put glucose monitor test and test yourself out. Every time when you eat something, you will see where your blood glucose levels are. My blood glucose levels could spike if I eat more protein without any carbohydrate. So you gotta learn how your body functions. I would recommend getting, continuous glucose monitoring test. Just put it on, and within a month, you'll learn what your body is good with, what is not.
Excellent.
Okay. If I may ask, our bodies make our own. Yeah. Would they make them fast enough for me to be able to get into a real high level exercise program? I was working out 5 to 6 hours a day every day when I was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, your body is gonna make lactose during the exercise, because lactose converts into the glucose, and it's gonna give you that energy what you need during the exercise.
Okay, well, that's good news. I'm glad to hear that.
You can, but it's gonna eliminate the rest of the lactose after you're done with exercising. Your body is gonna eliminate a lot of stuff during the exercise. Let's say glutamine, because glutamine is another thing that fits cancer. Your body is gonna eliminate, kind of cut down. I wouldn't say cut down. It's gonna use glutamine also, because glutamine is another thing ferments beside the glucose in the body. So yes, your body is gonna give you the amount of glucose what you need during the exercise.
And do those glucose machines nowadays, do you have to prick yourself, or do they make them where you can test yourself without getting stuck?
I mean, you can poke your finger 5 times a day if you want to.
No,
Or
I don't want to.
or you can ask the doctor. I think some insurances do cover them nowadays, right? So you
Okay.
can ask your doctor to give you that prescription for a glucose monitor. It's a continuous glucose monitor, CGM. It's called CGM test. You can get those and you can put them, and you're gonna see yourself what you do and what you eat, and type of exercise, how much your glucose spikes, how much doesn't spike, because it's going to just continuously reading that. And that's going to give you a much clearer picture.
Okay. Thank you very much. I
Okay,
appreciate it.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Maya and Dave. My hand is up, and I'm just going to add one little thing. And it's not necessarily about sugar. It's just it's about strawberries, because you mentioned it. Strawberries are part of the dirty dozen. They're one of the most contaminated fruits that you can get unless you grow them right out in your garden like I do. I just have a type of strawberry that blooms all year long and has strawberries all year long. But yeah, definitely want to stay away from those, because the skin is so thin, and they put pesticides on them and it just soaks right in. It's definitely one of the top toxic ones that you just can't get clean strawberries from the store. That was my point. And then we have a couple of guests on. I think we got Vanessa, and I'm not sure who some of the other people are that are on. So
Absolutely. Before we move on, though, for anyone that is interested in the Dirty Dozen and learning more about those, they are actually part of our newsletter. For anyone that's not subscribed to our newsletter, I do recommend that you get on our mailing list ASAP. Not only is there a whole chart regarding the Dirty Dozen and some more information there, but there's a whole lot of other emails that go out regarding all sorts of interesting information. Yeah, back to you, Carl.
yeah, so Vanessa, your the mic is yours. Introduce yourself. How'd you get here? And maybe you have a question.
Oh, hi. I actually met you guys at Annie Appleseed. I sat next to you. I'm Vanessa from we are the OC tribe.
Oh, that's right. Yep, I remember now.
I've been trying to sit in on this great Zoom that you do weekly. I've been watching it on Facebook, and I just wanted to jump in and see what you guys are, what the conversations are all about. I'm always looking for different holistic modalities to share with the ladies in my group. Most of us are ovarian cancer survivors. The group is kind of morphing into breast, gynecological. We have lung cancer now. So, and we're always looking for providers. I can relate to these. I'm hearing about the oncologists. You have 10 oncologists, you're going to get 10 different. You shouldn't do. We really have to be in the driver's seat. And that's really what I promote and try to encourage women to do, to always be in the driver's seat of their own care. So thanks for letting me join.
Yeah. So why don't you put in the chat how some ladies could get involved in your group?
I will, for sure.
Yeah. You'll have some coaches here if you wouldn't mind some of the coaches coming in and
we would love people who have the same mindset. I mean, we're doing all the things and we're winging it a lot of times. I just went to my own oncologist this morning. I found our own provider here in Dallas. I'm in the Dallas area, and I found and curated my own provider for vitamin C IVs for us ladies, because there's nowhere for us to get them. And we don't really want to go to med spas and be looking at the ingredients in the bags and things like that. And the only caveat was we had to get a note from our oncologist. So I said, this isn't how things work. So I was the first one to do that today. I had an oncology appointment, and, it's damaging. There's no science. You pee it out, all of the things. It's just so frustrating to constantly be in battle to get some proper care, or to get a vitamin D lab, or to get the struggle. So we're really interested in some providers who can guide our ladies with a whole, from everything from antiparasitics to supplement protocols to peptides, everything. doing everything, and we're kind of doing it, winging it on our own. So I'll leave my Facebook group down here, or feel free to I'll comment on the I'll come. I have not updated face. I just jumped into this because I couldn't find any support when I was fighting. I'm not a Facebooker. I could care less about social media, but like this is now I do, because I'm on here all the time talking. Now my little group has 800 women in it almost, and we're all trying to do what we can to stay alive and thrive. So I'll leave a Facebook comment under this post of the live, and please reach out to me if you'd like to be introduced to my group. I'd love to learn more about what you all do.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for presenting that and sharing that with us, with our community, with our coaches. Yeah, coaches, that's a speaking opportunity. That's an audience opportunity. That's fantastic. So definitely thank you, Vanessa, for sharing that.
Zach, if you could pull when Vanessa puts it in the chat there, pull it and put it into the chat here.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't even know how to do that. I actually tried to DM you guys on the beat, and you have the fancy AI. You're gonna have to teach me that. The fancy AI response, and I was like, oh darn it, because like Carl, remember I sat next to you and you gave me your card, and I'm I couldn't find the card, so I was like, I'm gonna track them down.
Well, good. BeatCancer.org. It's easy to remember and hard to miss.
Exactly.
Of course, I misspelled it today on something I was trying to sign up to, and now it's lost.
That's all right.
Awesome.
Old timers sometimes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Definitely want to go over to some of the other guests that we have here tonight. See some more names that I don't recognize, so I'll just call them out in no particular order, but I'd love to hear from Sue. Sue, the mic is yours, the floor is yours. If you would like to have it, you are welcome to unmute yourself and let us know a little bit about you and what brings you out and what might be on your mind and what we can answer for you.
And for the rest of us, if we could just please mute our mics.
Hi, everyone. So I'm looking for good advice, looking for good resources, community support. And I don't know what I have to offer, but I've read voraciously, and I'm about a year out from a breast cancer diagnosis. Let's see, I'm actually nearing 2 years. So that's where I'm at. Don't know how much I can offer you all, but I'm here to take in your great wisdom and maybe interject when I can.
Well, you
Awesome.
definitely found your tribe here, that's for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for being here, Sue. Your participation is welcome as much as you'd like to. Never required, always encouraged, and we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Awesome. How about Angela? The floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I found you guys when I was doing research, and I recently found out that I have cancer in my lymph nodes, but I don't know where it's coming from or anything yet. I haven't had my first PET scan yet. So I'm really just here to listen and learn, and yeah, right now I'm just trying to learn all that I can and go from there. So I'm glad to be here.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining the community. You're welcome and encouraged to come out to these calls. We have them mostly every week. We will be breaking next week because our staff will be attending a conference. But other than that, you're welcome and encouraged to hop on here, ask any questions, take advantage of any of the other resources that we have. If you are not familiar, just to quickly run through some of them, we have our naturopathic doctor on staff with whom we offer counseling completely free of charge. We also have wonderful holistic cancer coaches that are available for hire in different capacities, several of which are on this call with us right here. You're welcome to take the Holistic Cancer Coach Certification Program yourself. Many patients do find that it's a great way to empower themselves through the experience. Beyond that, blogs, videos, readings, so many things to really wrap your head around. And we are here to guide you or point you towards any of them that are calling to you. So thank you for joining. And it all starts with surrounding yourself with the types of people that know the kind of things that you're looking to know. So wonderful first steps, and you're, yeah, welcome and well done doing the things.
Yep.
Thank you.
If you have any questions when anybody else is talking, you could just go ahead and throw them in the chat, and hopefully we'll get them addressed in this call. If not, we'll address them afterwards.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
And one last thing, don't forget to sign up for the mailing list, to the email list. Jack mentioned it once, but just go to our homepage and you'll find a big green button there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will do.
Awesome. And how about over to Connie? iPhone Connie, the floor is yours. We'd love to know what brings you out. Are you Connie the coach, perchance? Or are you different Connie? Let's find out. Oh, you're on mute, Carl. But
There's Connie's iPhone Connie.
and that's all right. If you're not in a position to speak at the moment, that is totally okay as well. And we will take some questions from the chat, if so. Let's see.
One was about vitamin C. You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm scrolling through now. Yeah, someone said, is vitamin C important? Another vague question. We get some vague questions tonight.
So I'll give it the vague answer, yes.
But yeah, if any coaches have thoughts on vitamin C, again, it's pretty vague.
Deb, Marionette. Deb's been sitting back. She's just been laughing. You're on mute.
I know. I'm on my iPad. I'm so verklempt, for lack of a better word, with my technology here. Marinette, you don't have to laugh too hard because she knows how inept I am at my computer and everything. So yeah, I'm on my iPad, so I'm trying to maneuver everything. Yeah, vitamin C. Vitamin C is good. Vitamin C is good. Another good one, though, also too, if you're talking, and it is a big question because vitamin C. What else are in general? In general, vitamin C is good. I'll say that much. There's some really good stuff out there as well. It depends on what you're, you know, in what respect the vitamins.
Why don't we go more in depth and target towards cancer? Are vitamin C IVs? Is that something that people do for just general health, or is it something they do for cancer? Or
yes, vitamin C IVs are something that they do, obviously, for cancer. But if you're going to get it in a hospital, you're going to get 500 milligrams, and that's about it. And that's pretty much, an infant infant dose that they're going to be giving you. I know from experience with my dad being in the hospital just with COVID, that they wouldn't give it to him. They did one and that was it. And it was, not their protocol. So it's something that is not always given. So then you have, like Vanessa said, you need to take it into your own hands and start looking around to see where can I get this. And it's a lot of your infusion clinics, sometimes you have a really good nurse that would be able to tell you as well what you can do and where you can go and what they have if you were to come in, if you're going through chemo and radiation and say, hey, I'm not feeling very good. This is what I'm looking for. Sometimes you can go in and they have something similar to what's called a Myers cocktail. And I'm probably going to get myself in trouble for all this, but you know what? That's too bad. So you just have to take it into your own hands and really do a lot of research and look into that and then go from there. But yeah, you can get the 5,000 intravenous IV drips that way.
And that has her hand up, and then Maya.
So I was just going to say, just to actually have, since this is more of a general question, get your levels checked. You can check those labs. The vitamin C can fluctuate obviously quite quickly because it does come out of your system. But there's a lot of people that are deficient in many, many nutrients, which is leading to many diseases, and it's it's generated from our lifestyles and the way that we're eating. So many people are actually deficient nutrient wise anyway. So it's probably a good idea just to see where you're at, especially vitamin D would be my biggest one to check, would be your vitamin D levels.
Yep. I get my vitamin.
I agree with you on that, Marinette, because I just had my vitamin D levels checked a couple of weeks ago. And, I think predominantly most everyone, especially if you live in the Pacific Northwest or areas where you don't get a whole lot of sunshine, that you're deficient in vitamin D. And so I started doing the liquid vitamin D drops, and, basically take the squirter and put a couple squirts in there. And I tell you what a huge difference that zinc, it's just made a real big difference. But you're absolutely right. Really test, check your levels, see where you're at. And I think any one of us coaches could probably talk a little bit more if you have specific questions about that. So it just depends on where you are, and without, kind of telling in general about not knowing about your health and that kind of thing. So it takes a little bit to get to know you and stuff. And so then we can go from there. But yes, in general, but check all of them. There's a lot of good vitamins out there.
Thank you, Deb. We'll get to Maya next, and then I'd like to hear from Edith.
Well, I will back up Annette and Deb on checking all of your levels. It's not only vitamin C, it's important in our body. Everything is important, especially when it comes to cancer. Vitamin D are not vitamin D, vitamin C. Some of my clients won't even mention that they wanted this IV for cancer, so they can get it even at local med spa, for example. Or they will find someone who does give it to them. But again, we have to know if our body processes the vitamin C, because people who have diabetes, they might not process vitamin C because it has the same pathway as glucose does. So it will, so the body is going to have a hard time processing vitamin C, means like taking the vitamin C into the cell, because of the same transporter as a glucose. So that's another thing that you have to be aware of. And it is true that our body can utilize vitamin C only certain milligrams at the time, then going like very high, because the high level of vitamin C would convert it into the oxalic acid and cause kidney stones. So that's another thing that you have to be aware of. And that depends on what kind of digestive system you have, because we do have a bacteria that breaks down oxalate. But if you don't have that bacteria, there's going to be a problem consuming vitamin C. Just because it says it helps, yes, but then again, it comes to by individuality. That's why you have to work with someone who's going to test you out for those things and let you know if that is going to work for you or not. So that's on vitamin C, I could say a little bit. Is it important antioxidant? Yes. But then at the same time, you have to know why your body is creating free radicals. Okay. So it's creating for a purpose. If you go against your body's innate ability and bring them artificially, exogenously down, you might interfere with the process and actually cause more damage and make that vitamin C as a pro-oxidant that is going to support cancer. But there's a lot of nuances about vitamin C from my research, what I learned. So again, have to know a person, have to find a person you can work with.
Thank you, Maya. I do have another question, but it's a rabbit hole, so I'd rather just go to Edith and welcome you to the call. And if you feel inclined to speak, and we'd love to know what brought you here.
Hello. One moment, please.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, can you see me there? It's pretty bright. Wow. Hello, everyone. I literally just stumbled on your live moments ago, but I've been listening, and I said, let me just join. I saw the link in the comments. How do I begin? So it's very interesting. I've been doing a lot of studying as well here and there. my mom just passed from cancer in October. She had esophageal, which almost 10 years in remission, and then it came back last summer, and then she passed. My father, I think, pancreatic in like 2012 or 13. So I have that family history. And just doing a lot of research about, this disease, trying to understand, because obviously it's very rampant right now everywhere, I feel like, when you turn. And I've been learning about the sugar issue and vitamins. Like when I heard someone talking about vitamin C, I've heard about that because when my mom was going through her treatment, I tried to see if I could get her to go get an IV because I had read somewhere, the benefits of it, but I think she was already too far gone at the time. But for those of you who have gone through this, or survivors, or what supplements are, again, I joined you guys late, so forgive me if it's a repetition of what you might have already discussed, but what are the good supplements we should be taking, people who have gone through cancer, to kind of help keep the body immune system inflammation free and just, as healthy as possible, I guess is the word, right? Nobody really, and everybody's body is different. But I read about like liposomal. I'm probably not saying that, vitamin C. Apparently are you aware about the liposomal vitamin C? Apparently it's supposed to be the one that can absorb better or something for the body. I've read that, vitamin D obviously is very important as well, and in good high dose, I think about 4 or 5,000 IU. And vitamin E. So, I mean, there's just all this different stuff out there. And again, all these I kind of learned, I'd say, a little late for my mom, because I finally learned about, the antiparasitical protocols, again, weeks before she passed. So I did try to get her on those, but again, I think it was just, she was already too far gone. But right now I have a few friends who are going through this disease right now. So I'm very concerned, and I'm trying to educate them with a little bit I have learned myself. So I mean, what should, for those of you who, what are you doing, or what should we be doing, especially for those people who've gotten into supposed remission, or even who's going through treatment? Because oncology, they don't tell you anything. You understand? My mom was almost 10 years in remission, and they told her, whatever, and it came back and it took her. So I think I'm also trying to be very proactive as far as myself, to be now mindful about sugar intake and supplements and food and all that. So I don't know. I guess I'm kind of rambling, but do you understand my question?
Absolutely, absolutely. You're looking for directions, you're looking for guidance, you're looking for someone to even join you on this journey of figuring it all out. And that, all of the above and more, are exactly why we're here. So thank you for finding us. Thank you for taking the step to joining us. And we have so many wonderful people, both here on this call or also within the community at large, that are here to help you in so many different ways. So I'm going to go over to Carl, and then we'll hop over to Maya.
First, I want to say, Edith, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. My mom passed of cancer as well. Secondly, at BeatCancer, or even specifically on this call, we can't be very specific saying this is good for you or not good for you. But what you can do is you can get in touch with one of the coaches that are here on the call, or even our in-house naturopathic doctor from our nonprofit, and discuss your case more personally, because we have to know you, and possibly get some labs. And number 3 is that your genes don't dictate your future necessarily. That's what we know. We know that only 5 to 10% of all cancers are caused by your genes, and even if you have genetic propensity for cancer, lifestyle is 90 to 95% of what triggers those genes in one way or another, either for the good or for the bad. So definitely have hope for your future, and I'll let some of the other coaches talk as we're getting into our closing moments. Maya, I think, was next.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your mom passing. As many coaches here on this call, we all went through cancer, including myself. I went through it twice. And so learning about how to live your life after cancer without the fear of cancer coming back, that was my biggest mission. I think that's why I ended up being here. So, and we just spoke about it with other coaches a few days ago, what exactly the process that people have to start when they have, whether it's after cancer, with cancer, or any other health conditions. And nowadays in our time, we are kind of so slightly programmed that if we need to improve our health, we have to jump up and start with the supplements, which is not a case, because the supplements exist about 50, 60 years at this point. So our body knows how to survive without them, as long as you know what to do and what kind of nutrients you have to bring to your table. So it's many companies that sell supplement, they would convince you this is what you need. But again, down the road, you don't know in 10, 15, 20 years how they're going to react on your body. So what you have to do, you have to think about, and this is what I learned from my personal experience with cancer, you have to know like what our ancestors did before the supplements were invented. They weren't getting so many cases of cancer. So what kind of food they were consuming and how they were consuming, what kind of lifestyle they had. So you have to focus on everything, what surrounds you, your environment, what kind of household stuff do you use, cleaning supplies, the shampoos, your hygiene product, everything matters when it comes to cancer. So you have to first focus on eliminating every negative things from your life, and then learn like, you know, what is your body is all about, what kind of, you know, nutrients it needs. And it needs all type of nutrients, but it doesn't need from supplement, it needs from food. Okay, from original source, because that is most bioavailable form of nutrients you can put in your body. You always have to focus on your digestive system. Is it working right? Is it processing? Is it methylating everything right? Is it breaking down all the nutrients right? So you have to work with someone who can help you to go through those stages and understand that. So once you go through those stages, you are going to see that intake of supplement is not necessary, at least not as many as you've been told, because there's over what, 40,000, you cannot possibly take 40,000 supplements, right? So you have to learn what your body needs. You have to learn, like, you know, many things. And the most importantly, you cannot let the fear guide you. You know, being afraid because your mom or your dad had and your dad had a cancer, that doesn't mean you're going to get cancer too. You know, it's not genetic. It's something that we create, our body create because of the imbalances, and imbalances mostly comes from the nutritional deficiencies. So that would be the recommendations, instead of like focusing on spending money and getting those supplement. I would rather recommend spending money and getting quality, like quality food, you know, a good high quality food source, you know. That would be my recommendation if you want to prevent cancer. And if you want to learn more in depth, like we said, that you can contact any coaches, and we guide people through how to prevent cancer, how to deal with cancer, and many other things too.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I would love to connect with a coach here. I'm not sure who, but I could. I would love to.
You're on a place where you can see the chat.
Yes, I think I
Okay.
can see
The coaches can put their names and contact information in the chat, and anyone that you feel like you resonate with, just go ahead and feel free to contact them.
Okay.
Yep, we have many coaches, many coaches out there. They all have directory profiles on our website as well. So if you'd like to go back and search for someone that way, I'll also put that link in the chat.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
And Deb.
Oh, okay. I just have to say, and I'll make this as quick as we can, because I know that we're running a little bit out of time here. But Edith, you pretty much summed up everything that I went through, that I experienced, my thoughts, everything about, I lost my mom as well. I lost some really close, strong, influential women in my life and all of them to cancer, every one of them. And Angela, if you're still listening as well, and Vanessa with you and your group as well, cancer is something that takes everybody by surprise and by storm, for lack of a better word. And it's really, you kind of don't know where to begin. And it's overwhelming. And you don't get a lot of the answers that you're looking for from your doctors a lot of the time. This is a great community to be in. And when you are looking, to when you do your research, and I know you said you've been doing a lot of research, the research again can be very overwhelming. But because when you start looking at the toxins, the environmentals that all impact our lives on a daily basis. I mean, I think I told Marinette the other day, I said, well, I just read a thing on this. I said, I think I'm just not going to eat anymore. Well, you can't do that, but there are things that you can do to clean it up. So, to get rid of things, basically what we kind of call clearing the muddy waters, starting from the beginning, going back to the basics, like Maya had said, really going back. If I'm going to eat bread, can I eat bread? What's the, am I, gluten, is gluten going to bother me? How does that impact me? And so people, you take a look at those and you find those alternatives that are cleaner and healthier. And you look at those, you look at the different kinds of wheat that are out there. How is that prepared? And a lot of times, we live in a society now where everything is fast and furious. We want everything fast and furious. And that's kind of like our healthcare in a way. Everything is fast and furious. Let me just write your prescription. Let me, without, and I'm not, that's our medical system. That's not, I don't want to bash doctors because they saved my life. I did a lot of research on my own too, and I've done a lot of stuff since. And I kind of I'm not doing those things that they've told me to do. And I feel better now than I ever have before. It's empowering yourself and it's knowledge, but it's talking to any one of us on here, and any one of us will do that. And so come on here on Thursdays, get a hold of any one of our, us coaches here, and more than happy to talk here, talk offline, whatever the case may be, because it's about community and it's about being, but I always want to raise the fist and say, yes, we're together, we're one, and we need to come together as a community in order to, succeed and be successful in fighting cancer, because it is doable, and it's lifestyle, diet, nutrition. I know that sounds like, I keep hearing this, but it truly, truly is. And again, going back to the basics. So, but thank you for saying what you did, because it really resonated with me. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Deb.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, any last moment thoughts from yourself before we wrap up shortly?
Man, we got so many questions in the chat, we just won't be able to get to them. But we have
Do we have more? I mean, I'll keep going.
definitely had
Coaches
questions
wanna
in
keep
chat,
going.
but definitely please, coaches, last minute, put your contact information in. Edith, if you'd like to get a copy of the chat and the coaches' contact information, you can send us an email at support@BeatCancer.org and just ask us for that, and we'll send you the information.
Or if you are on a desktop device and here in the Zoom app, you can click on the three dots that are above the chat, and it should allow you to do so as well.
See?
But
Exactly.
yeah, before we do end off, I'm gonna do a little bit of social media clip farming because Dave said something really cool earlier, but it was a bit of chatter. So Dave, what did you say that your oncologist knew about sugar?
Did he go? I think he might have fell off. No, he's here.
Oh, he looks frozen though. He might be
Yeah.
frozen. Oh well. Oh, there he is. But he's on
You're
mute.
on mute, Dave. I
Oh,
muted you.
okay, okay, there we go. Oh, thank God. Yeah, I don't think very much, to be honest with you. The first day I met him, he said, "Stay away from sugar," and then 2 years later, he said, "Don't worry about it." And I just know that there's nobody in his entire clinic. If you talk about, for example, metabolic cancer therapy, which is the big thing nowadays, there's nobody in that office that knows anything from top to bottom. All, from the top doctors all the way down to any of the office personnel, the nurses, the receptionists. I don't care who it is. Nobody that I've come in contact with knows anything. Billing department doesn't matter. Radiation department, nobody seems to know anything about any of that stuff. And to me, that's just being irresponsible. They're not. He told me he was keeping up with the latest greatest, and all I'm getting his impression is that, like most traditional doctors today in this country, he's just doing what he's been doing for the last 40 years. I'm sorry, you asked. I'm just telling you what that's my honest impression.
It's not
more in 5 minutes with you guys than I do in 2 years with these guys.
It's not they don't know. The protocol. I worked in a hospital for 19 years. It's not like they don't know. It's they're prohibited to talk about it.
Yeah, I believe
they
that
cannot. They might know, but they cannot say or do anything with it. So that's why we are, as people, we have to take the responsibility into our own hands if we would like to survive.
That's the number one thing I
And
learned
if we
through all
want to
this.
make it out there, so we have to do that.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
and that's what we all did here. Like, we took the matter into our own hands and we made it,
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are 15 minutes past the hour. But Carl mentioned that there's still questions in the chat. So now's the time where I say, if of course, if anyone does need to drop off, has to drop off, please do, as you must. You're not, held against your will here. We are past our allotted hour, but we can keep the party going if some of our coaches want, if some of our participants want, and we can keep fielding questions. So yeah, let's say all of our participants who would like to keep the party going. I see some nods. I see some hands. All right. So Carl, what's our next question?
The question in the chat was semi-addressed when we talked with Edith, because the question is, what vitamins for immune support? More vague questions.
Got it. Okay, so then we can go beyond that one. There's another great one though. Wondering about the benefits of infrared saunas for breast cancer, and are there any additional benefits over a regular electric dry sauna? So a bit of a two-part question. It's not only talking about infrared saunas, but it's talking about comparing them to standard electric dry saunas. So with that, over to any of our coaches or any of our participants to have any thoughts on infrared saunas. Sometimes we don't. Oh, all right. A hand from Maya.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay, infrared saunas, they're good, but you have to know where you're getting them from and what company they're coming from, because the frequency of the light is very important. When you listen to Dr. Neurosurgeon, Dr. Jack Cruz, he talks about it. Nothing can mimic infrared lights that comes from the sun direct into the exact the frequency that it comes from the sun. Nothing could mimic that. So the man-made infrared saunas might be either too much or too less. So that doesn't mean people should not get it. It's just like you have to know your options. So the way I look at the life, like, do you really have to spend money going and getting them, or you can go out on the sun and get them in natural way? That's going to benefit you more. So, and that's a decision you have to make yourself. That would be my answer to that.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other additional thoughts on infrared saunas?
I just wanted to mention just something about saunas in general. And it goes along with just moving your body, and it's just sweating. Just get your body sweating. Just get those, chemicals, toxins, whatever is in your body that needs to get out. Like, let it get out. I mean, we were meant to move. We were not meant to sit around all day long. We were not meant to sit for hours. Our body's pathways, one of its most natural ways to detox is through sweating. And that's why the infrared saunas are kind of a bigger thing right now too. They help heat the body from the inside, not like on the outside in, it's inside out. So it works on the cells a little bit differently, but the main purpose is sweating. So just get your body temperature up, get a good sweat going for at least 15 minutes. And yeah, just make sure to get that going.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna add to that. If you can't move, if there are reasons for some reason that you can't move, and there are, do what Maya said and really look into, they have mats. I just bought a mat about a month ago and I love it. And I can't really speak on it. That's why I'm kind of being a little, evasive here a little bit, because I'm not that familiar with infrared. I do know it does some amazing things for people, and because it penetrates deeper into the skin, the muscles, and the tissue. So there is that, but definitely do your due diligence, do your research on it. I love the mat that I have. It's wonderful. You can start looking into PEMF. Those are, another thing that can be, found on some of the mats, but definitely there are certain intensities that, are there as well, to take a look at. But when it comes to exercise, again, I honestly think that was one of the saving graces for me. After my diagnosis and a year of surgeries and everything else, I made the decision to come off some medication. This is on my own, to come off some medication, and I hiked Italy for 2 months. The best, most spiritual, grounding thing that I could ever have done. And that's another part of healing from cancer and overcoming cancer. Your mindset. Your mindset is huge. And Dave, you said you used to work out. Man, if you can get back into the gym or just walk around the block or just walk down to the driveway and back, that's what I was telling my brother, just walk down to the driveway and back just to start, if that's all you can do, then do it. Just make sure you do it. Sit in a chair and just raise your arms up if you're able to do it. Anything and everything to make you feel better, heart, mind, and soul. That is what is extremely, extremely important. So.
Can I add something to that? When we speak about like our own body, we are part of this nature, and we should not forget that, because we're part of it. We're part of this circadian rhythm. We're part of this biological process. When the sun rises, it gives us certain lights. And there's a blue light, there is a green light, there's a purple light, there's all type of light that our body needs. We keep forgetting that we're part of this nature. We are staying in bed late, like waking up in the morning, going to that sunrise, learning how naturally your body makes melatonin. Everything matters when it comes to cancer. Until you won't get that, understanding that everything matters, that's where the people get stuck, when it comes to healing. We have to be connected with nature. We have to ground ourselves. We have to walk barefoot. We have to get connected. Even for half an hour a day, we have to get to the sun, because you're not going to get more from any other man-made device than you're going to get from the sun. And that's what we have to remember, because our eyes picks up the signal, send it to the brain, connect it to the universe. Everything matters. Like you have to remember that when it comes to healing. And it's not only about supplement, and it's not only food. Yes, food is a foundation, it's a fundamental, but it's not the only thing. There's so many things you have to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Any other thoughts on saunas before we move on? No, that's all right. There's been some side chatter about blue light glasses in the chat. We cover them very frequently. I do recommend individuals look into them. Everyone always wants to know what the funky looking glasses Maya is wearing are. But yeah, blue light from screens can be very disruptive to our health in a variety of ways. So there are a variety of things that we can do to lessen our exposure and combat some of the effects. Wearing blue light frequency blocking glasses is one of those things. So just
Do you recommend any brands for those?
me, I don't have any particular brands. I just go with like some Amazon specials and I haven't been disappointed, but
Okay.
and you should do that. Maybe Maya knows. I don't know.
No, as long as you get 100% or 99.9% blue light blockers, mine came with a tester. Like there's a blue light and a tester, so you can test them out. That's all. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
don't have to go crazy and buy them for 100, $200. I got mine, I think, for $30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a few here, and there are different lenses. So some of the lenses are a lot more clear, like these, and they just have like a very slight yellowish tint to them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But obviously they are less likely to block as much as a straight up amber or even red lens like Maya has. But of course, I can see things more in their natural colors than than the kind like Maya.
Okay.
But yeah, these are probably like $30 on Amazon. They're all scratched up. I gotta get a new one. I got these for free. I think my mom's company was giving them away or something. She gave them to me. So again, another style. But yeah, you if you're in at all in tune with your state of health and mental well-being, you can very quickly tell the difference upon putting them on and looking at screens for a while, especially if you do get a lot of exposure to screens. It is pretty easy to feel them working. But like Maya was saying, sometimes they do come with a tester, which is literally just a little blue LED on like a little flashlight, and you can, shine it at the lens and you'll see it. Um, you'll see it being blocked, which is pretty cool. Oh, I see a hand from Annette.
I was just gonna say too, you can if you wear prescription glasses, because like these ones are prescription, you can ask for them too, and they have different coatings. Because a lot of times you don't get like the amber color, so they make them just a little bit different, and they do something with the lens so that it does reflect it. So yeah, those are available too. You just have to talk to your doctor about it.
Great. Thanks.
Yep. And while we're on the subject, might as well cover some of the other combative things that you can do. The devices that you use themselves can get blue light blocking screen protectors. So on my phone right here, you see how it's kind of reflecting kind of blue?
Mm-hmm.
So that's is a side effect of a blue light blocking screen protector on a black phone. And, it's all the science of why it's reflective and whatever. But when the phone is on, everything looks pretty normal. You can't really see, you really can't see a big difference in the output. Beyond, and that screen protectors like that are available for phones, available for computer screens, tablets, etc. Nintendo Switch, I've seen them for car radios. I have one on my car radios, so you can get them for really anything. I prefer the glass ones just because I like glass screen protectors. There's also plastic. But beyond that, in the settings of your devices themselves, you can change the hue of the output even before the screen protector, or in, lieu of the screen protector, and you can make it output a warmer tone to begin with, which is something I do on all my devices. So yeah, there's always things that you can do addressing the lights that you're exposed to in your environment, your room lights, getting an incandescent bulb or at least a warm LED is far, far better than a cooler tone light. But in general, you want to avoid LEDs or other forms other than incandescent. But yeah, all of these things really compound into a much higher quality life, honestly, because we are not designed to be intaking a lot of these frequencies that we're exposed to in our day-to-day life. And yeah, it's not without consequence. So I think it is a worthwhile thing to take steps against. But yeah, we had someone join us a few moments ago, and I'd like to hear from them. Miss Judy Fulmer, the mic is yours. The floor is yours. We're normally not on at this hour, but you caught us while we're here. As a reminder for everyone, we do get started at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but sometimes, like tonight, we're having so much fun that we keep on going. So I'd like to invite you to the mic, Miss Judy Fulmer, and let us know what brings you out tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm just finished cancer treatment. I had cancer back in 2012 and 13, breast cancer, and it reoccurred. And so I just finished breast cancer treatment, and then they found some on the fallopian tube when I was getting, the ovaries out. And so 2 cancers recently, and I have ear ringing in my right ear. And don't know if there's any recommendations for that. I've seen an ear, nose, and throat doctor twice, and he said there's no wax or anything. So really nothing he said that he can do.
Yeah, so that, oh, I hear some echo. I think it's coming from your mic, Judy.
Oh, try to unmute it.
Back through Judy's mic.
Okay, I think it's good now. But yeah, of course, that is a hyper individualized circumstance. So I will open the floor to our coaches if they do have any general thoughts that have come to mind. But for a true deeper dive into what exactly is going on in an individual circumstance, we do recommend independent and private follow-up where there could be a more conducive intake and addressing of you as a whole person, because that's of course what we're all about. But is there any are there any coaches that had anything come to mind that they'd like to share based on what Judy has shared?
I just want to say, like, people when they go through chemotherapy, they might experience something like that, because it's the chemo does strongly affect the sinus area, all this area that everything is connected there, and people might experience. But with time, in some people that does get cleared up, that ringing in the ears, but some people just probably live with it for a long time, I would say, unless you find a way. There's a ways like to try to approach it, but we don't make recommendations here on
Okay.
on call. Sorry.
So like who like a naturopath maybe, or somebody who would I talk to maybe that had
the coaches can make recommendations to you personally. They just can't do it here. They got to first do an intake evaluation and learn more about you.
Yep. So our coaches have put some of their contact information in the chat, and I will welcome the coaches to do it again for Judy's convenience. Judy, if you're somewhere to and able to check out the chat, definitely check that out. I'll also link our directory to some of our other coaches. We have 500 all around the world. And then we also have our naturopathic doctor that we staff right here at Beat Cancer, who is an available resource as well.
It wouldn't be Raina or that, because I had gotten nutritional counseling kind of when I back in 2012, 2013.
With BeatCancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you
Dr. Randy.
Yep, Dr. Randy. Right.
Randy, that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she was great. And I still like hear her voice now when it's a reoccurrence, like crack that window open every day. I got the RO system, all the great things to eat for cancer. So she was really helpful. I did get to meet Susan one time too at a Juice Plus event.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of right timing. It's like when I find out, I already know, like, to reach out to Beat Cancer. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Just remember, the door is never closed with Dr. Randy. She's very enthusiastic to help people no matter where they're at in their journey. So yeah, please that door is always open. And again, also our coaches are always eager and willing to lend their services.
So how would I connect with a coach?
So I forget, did you say that you were able to see the chat here?
Yes.
Awesome. So our coaches, some of the coaches that are here still with us are going to put their contact information in the chat again for your
Okay.
convenience. And I'll also link our directory where there are several others. But you have a wonderful selection that are here with us tonight. So definitely check them out.
Okay.
Awesome.
And Annette.
Speaking of, yeah, we have Annette with her hand up.
I was just going to address her question, part of her question too. So like Maya was saying, there the chemo can affect, your sinuses and whatnot. It's actually toxic. It's ototoxicity, so it gets toxic in the ear canals. It can damage all sorts of nerves that's going throughout your whole body. So, you've heard of neuropathy. If you've ever experienced that chemo can cause that same kind of damage throughout your whole body. It's not going to just be in your hands or your feet. It doesn't just stay there. So one thing that can help is making sure that you have adequate levels of vitamin Bs, especially B12, folate, and then also checking your vitamin D levels. Making sure that you work with your doctor on that, because sometimes some of those neurological issues actually get worse because you're lower in nutrients. I actually have it. I have ototoxicity from chemotherapy. I had 6 months of chemotherapy when I had colon cancer 10 years ago. Actually, I was diagnosed 10 years ago this last couple of days. And I'm cancer free. But anyways, I was gonna say that it just never went away. I had chemo started, let's see here, it would have started 9 years ago. It's gotten a lot less, especially if I make sure that I'm hydrated. That's another huge one, is making sure that I'm hydrated, sleeping well, and then making sure that those levels are okay. And usually it gets a little bit better. Sometimes some people, it does, it just heals on its own. Your body's miraculous. It's miraculous. And so sometimes some people do get better, but others don't. The other thing is to make sure that your glucose levels and your A1C, all of that is all okay too, because that can also cause that ringing in your ears to get worse if your blood sugars are a little bit higher.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured maybe it was like a blood rush or something, because my cheeks would turn red. I'm still like get kind of my hands, my palms, was like pressure on the eyes. That's still a little bit there. It's not completely gone yet. So I'm hoping somehow that this goes away too at some time.
I hope for you too. It's not fun to live with.
No. At one time it was so loud I could feel it like all through my like forehead and like my head. It was that was kind of scary in a way too.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah. I was wondering, where do I find the chat?
Are you on a
I see it.
computer or are you on a phone? Oh, you found it?
I found it. Okay.
Awesome. And I'll put some of the name. I didn't see some of the coaches put their info again. So I'll put some of the names of some of the coaches here with us tonight. And you can search them up in the directory.
Just as an aside, it was because of this call that I stopped wearing my polarized glasses. And so, Maya, that was your fault. Now I go out in the sun all day with their glasses on.
I know. It's all my fault because I did wear them today. I didn't forget about them today. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's a good place to wrap it here. For any of our friends that want to follow up with information, if you didn't get a chance to save it down, or if you do just need any sort of support after the call, you're welcome to contact myself and Carl directly by emailing support@BeatCancer.org. And I did just put that in the chat as well. Again, that is support@BeatCancer.org. I will quickly say hello to our friends that are perhaps catching the replay on a different social media channel, and I will let them know how they can join us on the Zoom if they do so want to. Anyone is welcome and encouraged to hop onto the Zoom itself. It's a lot more fun than watching the replay. It's a lot more fun than the live streams. So you can head over to our website, which is, of course, BeatCancer.org, and go to the weekly call page right there. And from there, you can hop on the Zoom. We do meet mostly every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please adjust for your own local time zone. You can scroll down and catch the replays. There's a whole playlist of them. This is on YouTube, but they are available on different social media channels as well. Reminder, we will not be having a session tomorrow, next week, actually. We never have one tomorrow, but we will not be meeting next week as our staff and several of our coaches will be attending the Beljanski Integrative Cancer Conference in Austin, Texas. But we do look forward to the week following that where we can tell you all about it. Yeah, any closing thoughts, Carl, before we...
No, that's it. Just remember to sign up for our email and keep abreast of everything that's going on and get notifications of the call so you cannot forget.
Absolutely. And what's up, Maya?
Can I mention our round
Yeah.
table discussion here?
Please do.
Is that okay? Okay. So a couple of coaches here, we created a roundtable discussion, which we have live on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So every Tuesday we go live and we just discuss different topics. This coming Tuesday, we're going to be discussing detox. What's a proper way to detoxify your body? If any of you coaches interested, if any people are interested to see that and to participate, we're going to be posting on Facebook today or tomorrow the links and everything. Please join and ask questions and just participate, and we will help you to understand those, kind of bring the awareness to people.
Awesome.
So one more time, Maya, how do they find you and what time and day?
So we do Tuesdays evenings. Every Tuesday evening we go live. It's a roundtable discussion, and it's on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
And how do they find you on Facebook?
On Facebook, yeah, I post every week on Facebook, and I go under Maya Simont. So you can find me there, and you can actually we'll share on BeatCancer.org site too. So it would be easier for people to see. Yeah.
And awesome. We are getting the calendar updated so that we can do recurring events.
Cool. Yeah. We had over 100 viewers last week, so it was very exciting. Yes. So join us.
Well done. Yeah. Well done. Love to see our coaches out there doing the things. And, I know there's a wealth of knowledge between the three of you. So definitely recommend people check out those calls. And that's fantastic. Our community wants more information, and Carl and I don't necessarily have the bandwidth to host more calls every week than we already do. So the fact that you guys are out there serving the community means that more people get the info they need. So well done to our coaches. Yeah, fantastic call tonight. Thank you to all of our participants. Thank you for everyone catching the replay. Be sure you're following us on social media channels. This way you can see all of the super cool clips that get made from these calls. And we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Again, 2 weeks from today.
Okay, thanks for the advice on the earring.
See you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful
Bye.
week, everybody.
Bye now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.